Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a sleeping tribe was vulnerable to nocturnal predators. To survive, early hunter-gatherer groups naturally staggered their sleep cycles. The Sentinel Hypothesis points out that by resting at different times, at least one group member was always awake to watch the tree line. That ancient survival pattern is written directly into the human genome, regulated by the length of the PER3 circadian clock gene. This gene dictates your chronotype, your internal biological clock that decides exactly when your body is naturally primed to sleep, wake, and hit its highest cognitive peak. Struggling to focus in the morning or finding creativity at midnight is a sign of a hardwired evolutionary defense mechanism. Then came the industrial era. We traded the sun's rhythms for artificial light and standard 9-to-5 factory shifts, ignoring our varied biological clocks. Forcing a non-linear biological rhythm into a rigid corporate schedule creates social jet lag. The physical body expects one time zone, but society demands another. Living in this constant state of biological friction carries a severe physical cost. We are currently seeing workforce exhaustion rates hitting 59% in the United States and 63% in the United Kingdom. This chart shows the specific annual GDP losses caused by inadequate sleep and circadian misalignment. It's draining $411 billion in the US, £50 billion in the UK, and over $66 billion in Australia. The primary driver of this financial drain is presenteeism. Irregular sleep disrupts the body's stress response, the HPA axis, causing severe cognitive deficits. Employees are physically at their desks but mentally compromised, costing an estimated $900 per person in lost productivity every year. Mandating a universal 8-hour shift guarantees that modern organizations are permanently running with a workforce suppressed well below its true cognitive ceiling. Clinical psychologist Dr. Michael Bruce categorized these genetic differences into 4 distinct biological archetypes, each with its own optimal energy cycle. This timeline visualizes those daily productivity windows. First, we have the lion. Making up about 15% of the population, lions are early risers whose cognitive peak hits between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. Next are bears, representing the majority at 55%. Their internal clocks are tied to the solar cycle, peaking between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. before hitting a steep cognitive drop known as the 3 p.m. slump. Then there are wolves, covering another 15%. They are natural night owls. A wolf's brain does not enter its true productivity peak until most offices are closing, thriving between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Finally, the dolphin. This remaining 10% of the population consists of light, often anxious sleepers. Their energy is fragmented, but they experience brief, highly intense windows of focus late in the afternoon. When you lay these cycles over a standard 9-to-5, the mismatch is obvious. A single uniform schedule alienates nearly half the human workforce from their natural peak performance zones. The solution is chrono-working, tailoring work schedules to match biological highs and lows as a direct economic imperative. Organizations adopting this model are seeing immediate returns. A major U.S. manufacturing plant stabilized its workforce and saved $3.8 million a year, while Microsoft Japan tracked a 40% gain in productivity simply by letting employees choose more flexible rhythms. Governments are legislating to protect these rhythms. Australia recently implemented right-to-disconnect laws, empowering employees to ignore work contact outside of their designated hours. Within less than a year of establishing those boundaries, 58% of Australian employers reported improvements in both worker engagement and overall output. The era of judging dedication by continuous availability is collapsing under its own economic weight, making room for a system based on biological efficiency. Transitioning a team to chrono-working starts with a circadian audit. Managers can use standardized surveys, like the morningness-eveningness questionnaire, to map exactly how many lions, bears, and wolves they have on staff. This diagram illustrates step 2, designing crossover hours. By finding the overlap where all 4 chronotypes are reasonably alert, usually a block like 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., teams can schedule their essential collaboration without dragging anyone out of their deep work zones. Step 3 requires asynchronous workflows. A project management system needs to capture a lion's 6 a.m. breakthrough, so a wolf can easily build upon it during their 7 p.m. peak, without either of them having to be online at the exact same time. For industries that operate 24 hours a day, step 4 is implementing forward rotating shifts. Moving schedules from morning to evening to night mirrors the body's natural tendency to adapt to later hours, minimizing dangerous circadian shock. Moving away from an arbitrary 8-hour block and adopting output-based, chronotype-aware planning maximizes a team's cognitive output. To test this yourself, take a validated chronotype test and track your energy levels for 1 week. Pick just one high-priority task and move it into your natural peak window. For organizational leaders, conduct a team energy audit this week. The sooner you transition toward a borderless, output-measured culture, the faster you stop losing capital to exhaustion. Human productivity is a biological reality. It cannot be negotiated away by corporate policy or standardized schedules. The internal circadian clock is the most powerful piece of technology your workforce possesses. Survival in the modern economy requires alignment with the